New year, new intro, same Kiri Callaghan. Hello, my Kindred and Curios, and welcome back to my channel. We're clearing out the cobwebs, we're trying new things, and because it is January, we are setting new goals. Not just yearly, but also monthly. For 2023, first and foremost, I want to go on our honeymoon. This is the year we finally get to take it. We're gonna schedule it, we're gonna head off to England and Scotland. We're aiming for the end of this year, either late October or possibly November. I'm very excited. Weekly YouTube videos, which I'm going to try to upload every Friday afternoon, like this one, and of course, utilizing the Shorts feature by showcasing some of the skits that we originally created for TikTok. Who knows what's going on with that app? It might be here today, it might be gone tomorrow, but I'll be darned if I lose all of that really fun short-form content. I'd like to do at least one creative project per month, even if it's very small. I want to clean out my wardrobe and be more conscious of the pieces I put in it, and get rid of all of those that I've kind of just been holding on to, but I never wear. Angelique and I started writing an adorably queer Christmas rom-com, and I really want to finish that script this year. And hopefully around Christmas time next year, we might even be able to turn it either into a play or at least do an online reading. I know that traditional publishing moves a lot slower than self-publishing. So trying to be a bit realistic about what I want to have happen for Hemlock this year, I would at the very least love to get it sold to a publisher. If we're not able to do that, then I get to look at other avenues. My goal last year was to read 12 books. It was going to be one book a month. I would like to alter that ever so slightly, but keep it somewhat the same. I'm going to read 12 books this year. I am not going to decide ahead of time what those books will be, because I learned if I do that, it then feels like an assignment or homework, and I'm less inclined to do it. I will read what I wish to read, but I'm going to encourage myself to do it regularly. I'm also going to acknowledge that those 12 books might not all be read once a month. It might be like, for some reason, I'm able to read 2 books in February, but no books in March, so that I end up like doubling down near the end of the year and reading 3 books in 1 month. I'm just going to say 12 over the course of the year. That's fine. And a goal that I've implemented for myself every year for quite some time now is I want to try new things and I want to see cool stuff. It's broad, but it's always something I definitely want to drive me. And it's something that easily can be accomplished and is a joy to try and find. Now, there are a few things going on in the month of January, as you can see by the calendar. I'm going to test moving our live stream days to Tuesdays to give me a bit of a breather between posting and streaming. I also acknowledge that Critical Role streams on Thursdays, and I am never going to compete with that, and that's fine. Now, this may not actually stay my schedule. Like I said, we're trying things out. This is what I have currently planned, but it is subject to change. We may find that this schedule isn't actually what works for us, and we'll need to move it around again. Just because something works for right now doesn't mean it's going to work for always. I apply this when working in any of my other jobs. I don't understand why it never really occurred to me to apply the same thinking to my creative work. As for my monthly goals, I'm starting the next leg of my Lord of the Rings virtual marathon, which will take me 40 miles through the mines of Moria. I'm aiming to finish this trek by January 31st, which, given my average weekly mileage, this should be no trouble at all. I also have a tentative goal this month to redo my channel trailer. The channel is changing, so it would make sense that how we advertise it should change too. And at the end of the month, I'm planning a trip to Meow Wolf in Las Vegas, not just as something I've wanted to do, but as a way to celebrate Joelmas. If you don't know what I'm talking about because you're new here, don't worry, I'll explain in a minute. But before that, I've got some announcements. This Sunday, January 8th, I'll be joining some fantastic creators, including my gorgeous wife, at Anime Los Angeles in Long Beach, California. We'll not only be exploring what it takes to create a character, but also how you can utilize that character to best tell your story. We're coming from various backgrounds, including film, TTRPGs, books, LARP, and more. Also, earlier this week, I finished my current working draft of Hemlock, which, if you haven't heard, will be the first installment of a new series. Cozy urban fantasy, murder and mystery, with some slow burn sapphic romance. Oh, and did I mention it was solar punk and might possibly be an homage to Sherlock Holmes? My biggest personal highlight of the week was probably the feeling of sending my agent my manuscript. However, I would be remiss if I didn't show you at least some footage from our New Year's Eve show. LA Noir was an out-of-time celebration of both the New Year and the Millennium Biltmore's 100th year, where they even got to reveal a speakeasy corridor they discovered over the pandemic. I was part of an original radio play, which included loving homages to the overdramatic and delightfully cheesy action radio dramas of the time. The unfortunate moment here is ultimately due to a variety of circumstances, including an event using the same room just hours prior. Sound was not set up in time for us to do proper sound checks, and it took a while for the sound to suss it out. So I unfortunately don't have any footage from that, at least not with any usable audio. I do, however, have some fantastic footage from the dance show that I would love to share with you, which included amazing choreography from dear friends, and you might just recognize some familiar faces.
And
That wraps up my announcements and highlights for the week, so as Philip DeFranco would say, let's just jump into it. If you're new to this channel, you might not know that January is a pretty hard month for my family and I. My big brother was born on January 4th, but in 2013, on January 30th, he lost his battle with depression. It's really weird thinking that that was 10 years ago. On the 4th, it's family tradition to celebrate his life. I make a point of watching The Office or Wes Anderson, eating terrible pizza, and usually drinking some sort of fizzy drink he'd approve of. It was important to me to not try to ignore what the 30th was, but I knew that if I didn't do something, it was going to be this day that just tormented me or hung over my head. So I created what I call Joelmas, which is a self-care holiday. Now we have a mental health awareness month, but January 30th is specifically for putting your own mental health first. And while absolutely it is a daily effort, it's not something you can just check in on once a year, it's nice to have a reminder. It's an annual marker where you can look back over the past year and go, all right, where is my mental health now? Where do I need to improve? How far have I come? Where am I doing really well? Sometimes we all need a little bit of ceremony just to give ourselves the attention we truly need without feeling guilty about it. When I say self-care, that means a lot of different things to different people. Some may look at it as a sort of treat yourself, a la Donna and Tom from Parks and Recreation, which can be great, assuming it doesn't, barrel into self-destructive spending. But self-care as a definition is so much broader than that. Oxford Dictionary defines it as the practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health, or taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress. Yes, I'm a sucker for language, but there's something truly beautiful in that idea. Taking an active role to preserve and protect your well-being and happiness. Kind of feels like a little badass. You're going on a quest. In the past, protecting my well-being and happiness has meant a lot of different things. This year will be my 9th year honoring Joelmas, and over that time, I've played video games all day. I've sat down and figured out a budget. More recently, it included accepting that I need medication for my ADHD, and it began that slow process of trying to figure out what I needed to do in order to make that happen. This Joelmas, I'm going to really embrace the restorative power of immersive theater and experience. I've been wanting to go to Meow Wolf for years, and we're gonna hop in the car and drive to Vegas and do it at the end of the month. What are some ways you've been an active participant in your well-being? Do you have any plans for Joelmas? I'd love to hear about them. As you saw earlier in this video, one of the ways I'm actively participating in my own happiness and well-being is writing lists and setting goals. And with that, let's check in with our stats for the week. I do want to put a content warning out there for anyone who might be sensitive around topics of weight or fitness. I will be sharing some of my numbers and data, and while I will not be using it aggressively, I just want to give you a heads up in case that's something you're uncomfortable with. In regards to goals, we can already check off turning in the Hemlock draft, which feels so good. As for my to-do list, between now and next Wednesday or Thursday, depending when I'm able to sit down to edit, I'm looking to have done my Hemlock style sheet for the next round of edits, start my wardrobe organization by cleaning out my dresser, do a little crafting, and try our first Tuesday livestream. Now for the stats of the week. And I'm realizing that I forgot to note it, but this is meant to be from Thursday to Wednesday. I walked 12.56 miles, 5.77 of which have been counted toward Moria, as I didn't start the actual marathon until Tuesday. Currently, I'm only tracking weight and body fat percentage. I may also start tracking some inches, but we'll see what feels right and comfortable. You might have noticed that there was no goal weight, and that's because there isn't one. This really isn't about weight loss. It's just one of the easiest ways I know how to track my progress, and one of the ways that I know things have shifted since before the pandemic. It's really to get back in shape. I want my strength back. I have had muscles atrophy due to being stuck in a very small one-bedroom apartment and not really being able to do too much fitness. I want to get back to where I was. I want that stamina, I want that muscle. I want to feel that energized. It might sound trite, but it's also true. Weight is just a number, and it looks so different from one body type to the other. Thank you so much for watching. Keep on the windy side of care, and until next time, stay curious.